Hello everyone, RG6 Insurance here, and today I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home. Now I know this has been something I've been doing saying for a while, saying I'm going to review Spider-Man No Way Home, maybe around like December, January, February, but finally got this thing done just a couple of days ago. And I'm ready to give how I overall feel. Now, originally I said the film should have been canceled, and now the question is, do I agree with that statement? Answer is unfortunately yes, it should have been canceled. Now I want to talk about the positives first because there's only like two or one thing I actually liked about the film. Or I guess three things. But even then, they're all sidelined with some of the worst superhero stuff I've ever seen. And by the way, there are going to be spoilers. This is a spoiler review. I have to give spoilers, and then I'm going to give how I actually feel about the entire film. If you've still not seen No Way Home, stop watching this video, go and watch it, and then come back here so you can hear my entire thoughts. So I'm going to go into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. One of my positives for this film was how Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, yes, they are in this movie. They were the one thing I was not looking forward to. I actually wish they weren't even in the movie, but they were easily the best parts. But now the entire MCU timeline continuity is now completely gone and destroyed. Because now they're saying Spider-Man 2002 is now the beginning, or now I guess X-Men is technically the beginning now, because it's so confused. It just destroys the entire continuity of when the MCU began. Because take a look at it this way. Say the Arrowverse is gonna cross over with The Walking Dead, and you're gonna have characters like Glenn, like dead characters like the Governor. Well, the question is, how would that work? It's not, unless they're gonna do time travel or crisis. That can make kind of sense. As it stands, it does not make any sense. You see what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. Another thing I really, and while Tobey and Andrew were the best parts, they only had a very limited amount of screen time. And it's not like they even saved the film. They were literally sidelined through the entire movie. So I'd say I can't say Tobey and Andrew being a good part of it were the best parts. Now, one of my other positives was the first 2 minutes. The first 2 minutes I could find watchable, and actually kind of starts a little tense, where you just hear the news saying Mysterio is dead because of Spider-Man, and the following footage could be disturbing. Like, that actually felt like really scary, but it's just one scene. Then finally, it's the apartment scene. It actually kind of shocked me that they actually used Green Goblin, because I thought it was, because it made more sense that it was Lizard, because if you saw the scene before that, Lizard was literally acting like, basically, we saw the Lizard got out. But onto the negative side, one of the biggest problems with this fucking movie is that it does not understand its continuity. There's so many plot holes. The plot is so convoluted that it doesn't make any logical sense. In fact, Legendary Flare, my good buddy, he literally had to explain to me to a point where it actually made somewhat sense. That is the complete opposite of what they did in the movie. They made it as confusing as possible to a point that nobody could understand it. Like, I could understand how, like, Sandman was alive because he didn't die, but how is Green Goblin still alive? Even I'm still confused. Though they did say that it's before they died. I'm sorry. I feel like it's just an excuse just to bring these actors back. Don't get me wrong. I love Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin in Spider-Man 1 in 2000 or 2002, whatever. And Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus. I enjoyed them as villains. They were great villains. But do you really think I would want them in this kind of a film where they're going to be brought back and the reason is just confusing? Probably not. So, another negative is how they treat Tom Holland Spider-Man as someone who just doesn't grow as a hero. I'm done with this. This is insane. This is not how superhero movies work at all. The moment you don't develop your character, I don't care about the character. Like, look at The Flash. In season 1, they tried to develop Barry, Caitlin, and Cisco. They tried to develop them in the later seasons as well. You see what I mean? Season 5 of The Flash, Barry had to teach Nora to do all these things. Season 4, Barry had to teach Ralph how to become a superhero. It's development, because you're seeing an already person that was just in the same vein as them, except a little bit more experience, and then finally has been able to teach people how to be a real hero at the same time. How come No Way Home? How come the MCU constantly has the excuse of already making Spider-Man the dumbest character in the Avengers, be completely useless, and just never develops? No, that's like saying you're gonna make a Batman movie, a Batman trilogy. He just makes the same mistakes over and over again, but nobody cares because he's Batman. He can do all these incredible things. Now, another negative. One of the things I absolutely hated about this film was the CGI. I'm sorry, I'm gonna strip this. I'll take Frieza from The Flash season 7 over this kind of CGI. I'm sorry, but this part of the CGI, that mirror Grand Canyon fight just looked so bad. Lizard, he looked cringe, and every time he spoke, I just cringed and laughed because I just couldn't take it seriously. And the Lizard in New Amazing Spider-Man 1 is arguably my favorite villain of the Spider-Man films. Next, this entire film is just fan service. It's just fan service. Why? Why is this fan service? Like, I get people wanted to see Toby and Andrew back, but couldn't you at least done a more logical way of doing it? Like, look at the source material. You had Miles Morales and Miguel O'Hara. Why didn't you use those characters, Marvel? Why? Because now you completely humiliated yourself now. Because now people are going to say the reason the MCU is perfect is because of No Way Home. I don't even think it should even call No Way Home. Another problem, it says all titles have home in the title. Like Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. Why? It's so stupid. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is literally the most evil Spider-Man and the most evil human being in the entire MCU. I'd argue he's worse than Green Goblin, Red Skull, or Thanos. He's like the worst. I'd argue this Spider-Man is even worse than the Joker or Reverse Flash. This Spider-Man is evil. So starting out, one of the problems he has is that he asked Doctor Strange to wipe everyone's mind from Spider-Man. Now, this is the thing. Spider-Man should have just wrote down the list of people he can have, that people he knows could at least have, know his identity. Sorry, I can speak. Because of that, it would have made more sense if you write down like the Avengers, MJ, Ned Leeds, etc. That is the easiest thing instead of just going straight to Doctor Strange, asking him instead of writing down the notes. Jesus Christ. This film is so bad. Why couldn't this been Spider-Man Simpsons or Spider-Man Family Guy? That would make more sense. It would have not destroyed the continuity. It would have been more fun. It would have just been an okay film if it was Spider-Man with like Family Guy or like Family Guy. Why did this have to be a MCU Sony crossover? If I was in charge of making this film, I would have made it Spider-Man Family Guy means Peter Parker meets Peter Griffin. The reason I say that, it wouldn't destroy the continuity, like at all. Because Family Guy is meant, one of the funniest parts about Family Guy is just how the continuity makes it, like, how they never connect with continuity, and that's what makes it so funny. Like, every time Brian's met Jesus, yet he still doesn't believe in God, that's funny because it's meant to show that it doesn't really care, and it's just Family Guy. If Spider-Man was just a Family Guy, I would have thought it's an okay film at least, and it's still not like deserves to be canceled. Or like Spider-Man or Bob's Burgers or Spider-Man Simpsons. You get what I mean? Or if they did what I'm doing with my Marvel's DC show, you know, you have some actors like Steven Green Arrow, but yeah, obviously it would make a lot more sense on my show. I try not to spoil my show as much. Because the thing is, it's a different universe. Why couldn't they just say that Tobey and Andrew is a completely different universe? No continuity destructions. Now let's talk about the villains. Sinister Six and the Green Goblin. Wow, were they so horrible in this film, unfortunately. Green Goblin was such a bad villain. You could literally see you can literally tell he's gonna be evil through the entire movie. Funny enough, if you watch the teaser trailers, you're dumb. Basically, the trailer spoiled the entire movie. I'm not joking. You know, I watched this teaser trailer reaction for the film, and I realized half of the trailers, I believe, are in the movie. If you rewatch the trailers again, and rewatch the movie, you're gonna notice something a little unusual. Half the movie is in the trailers. Bloody hell. I just can't deal with this kind of storytelling. I just can't. Now, fair enough if some of you guys like it, you know, it's your opinion, I'm not gonna go out for you, but you have to at least understand where I'm coming from. Jesus Christ. I think the part where I just lost it was when Spider-Man tried to stop Doctor Strange from sending them into their universe just because, they died. So what's next? Joker or Reverse Flash comes in, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange is going to say they have to go back to their own universe. Besides, these guys are too evil to be here. And Spider-Man is like, no, wait, we can cure them, we can change them. Are you serious? Don't tell me I'm going insane. Spider-Man asks Doctor Strange if they can cure these villains. He has no idea on any of them. Who is the first villain Spider-Man literally releases just to help him? Green Goblin, the main villain of the film. Why didn't you guys at least Dr. Octopus, who at least has some knowledge of solar stuff? Out of the group, I want to say Dr. Octopus is arguably the most useful in this kind of, in a multiverse type story, because he's the one more familiar with space, whereas no one else is. MJ and Ned Leeds, I just don't give a crap about these characters. I don't care about these characters. I just don't care about these characters. Ned is so irritating. He's like, oh, look at the spear, a bloody spear. Are we gonna hunt like woolly mammoths? Oh, and then MJ is like, oh, that's cool. No problem with that. God, I can't. God. Can someone just erase this movie? Can I just go back in time and prevent this movie from ever being made? I don't care about Flashpoint or the consequences. This film shouldn't even be made. God, this film is terrible. This is one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my entire life. Everything is bad about this film. And it's the worst superhero movie I have ever seen in my life. It's worse than Homecoming, worse than Far From Home, and that's exactly what I fear. This film should have been canceled. And I'm gonna straight up say this, I'd rather watch The Flash Season 7 over this. Hey, at least Flash Season 7 didn't butcher the characters, didn't butcher anybody. At least it made somewhat sense when it came to the forces, etc. And it also didn't destroy continuity. So at least I'd rather watch The Flash Season 7. I'd rather watch The Walking Dead Season 5. I'd rather watch Arrow Season 1. I'd rather watch Arrow Season 2. I'd rather watch The Flash Season 2. I'd rather watch The Walking Dead Season 3. These seasons will have a lot of problems. Never butcher the characters. Well, I guess Season 3 kind of did, or The Walking Dead kind of did. But not to a point where it literally felt like fan service. At least these films almost never destroy continuity, at the very least, thank God. Right. So at least those seasons I mentioned never did anything that No Way Home did that made it so unwatchable. Well, these seasons are still pretty bad. They still had their redeeming values in them. No Way Home doesn't have a redeeming value. I know I said I have a few positives, but it's like how most people say of Godspeed. The Godspeed episodes were the best episodes of Season 7, but that's not saying much. That's how I feel about this. It's still not saying much that Adrian and Toby are like the best parts. It's still not saying much that it managed to surprise me on a few occasions. Still doesn't say much on anything. So what grade I'm going to give is, I'm just going to give it a Z or an F+. I think this might be the worst Marvel film. This is the worst superhero film. I feel like Marvel at this point needs a reboot. Marvel Studios needs a reboot. Can Marvel just be bought by the CW? Why Disney? Disney clearly doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And Disney seems that they don't understand how Marvel works anymore. Because of that, I find myself not caring for the MCU. This will probably be the last MCU review, unless I want to review like the X-Men movies. Well, it's Marvel reviews, so unless I want to review the X-Men movies, etc. Yeah, I will review the X-Men movies, but maybe more in June or July. Yep. I'm shocked. I'm generally shocked at how bad it was. I mean, I didn't went with high expectations, but it managed to surprise me how just truly awful it was. That being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Good.